Hola. Hola. Hello. Hi. Hi everyone. Welcome to a new live stream. How's it going? I hope everything is good. Um well, it's quite early right now. Yesterday I had some issues and I had to stop streaming. And yeah, but I'm back. And today we will actually, have the lesson. I mean, yesterday was a bit frustrating, but today we will have the lesson, the Spanish lesson. I know it's a bit early, but that's fine. Today we will learn 10 Spanish verbs for everyday life. This is the second video or live stream that I do about this. So 10 common verbs, 10 very common verbs that you can use pretty much every day if you have to. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and also click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time I live stream. I want to give a big shout out to our Cafecito members, Ralph Marquez, Brianna Lee, Ruby Brockenberry, Christopher Michael, William Lopez, David Beaver, and SC. Thank you so much for the support. El cafecito está muy delicioso. Muchas gracias por el apoyo. If you want to support this channel, you can also get a Cafecito membership. The only thing you gotta do, you need to click on the join button down below and check out the perks, the fee, and all of that. So essentially, you're just buying me a cup of coffee every month. So if you can, please take a look and let's get started. Let's do it. By the way, you can use the live chat to ask questions, to say hola. And remember that you have to be subscribed if you want to use the live chat. Okay, let's do this. 10 verbs. Let's increase your vocabulary with 10 verbs for everyday life. Let's look at the first one. I have a list here. But I'm going to go, I'm going to do it randomly. So it's going to be good. Let's do it randomly. Why not, right? The first verb is llegar. So the double L sound in Spanish is very similar to the Y sound in English. So llegar, just like you say yellow, you can say llegar. Do you know what this verb means? It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult really, but it's very commonly used. This verb means to arrive. When you get to a place, so you can use this verb if you're traveling or if you just want to get to some place. Okay, let's look at some examples using this verb. The first example is ¿A qué hora llegas? ¿A qué hora llegas? Oh, this is a good question. A very common question to ask in Spanish if you're expecting someone to arrive to your place, to your town, to your city, or just, you just want to know when this person is going to show up. Okay, so this means what time do you arrive or what time will you get here? Okay, so it's very similar to that question. It literally means what time do you arrive? Okay, llegar is very commonly used to just, if you want to say to arrive or to get to some place. Okay, ¿A qué hora llegas? Let's break this down. ¿A qué hora? Hora means hour or time, okay, in Spanish, la hora. When you ask ¿a qué hora? And then ... you can add whatever you want after that. It's like saying what time something will happen. ¿A qué hora llegas? In this case, we want to know when someone will arrive or when someone will get to a place. What time do you arrive? Llegas. Llegas, you know that in Spanish, we don't use personal pronouns all the time. So essentially, you're saying, ¿a qué hora tú llegas? Tú llegas, okay? So we're talking about one person and we're talking about you, singular, okay? So, but we don't need it. We don't need to say, ¿a qué hora tú llegas? You can say it, of course, if you want to, but you don't have to, okay? So it's optional. ¿A qué hora llegas? Okay, so that's how we use the verb llegar here. Tú llegas, él llega, nosotros llegamos. Okay, so you need to know the conjugation of this verb. You can change llegas, of course. You can change it to ¿a qué hora llegan? ¿A qué hora llegan? Llegan. That means what time do they arrive? Okay. Ellos llegan. Ellas llegan. They arrive. Okay. So feminine, masculine, ellos, ellas, they. Okay. What time do they arrive? Okay. Or what time will they be here? Right? So it's the same question. Same question. ¿A qué hora llegan? So yes, this is a very good question if you want to ask about when someone will arrive or will get to a place. Okay, let's look at the next example, guys. Let's see what we have here. The next example is ya llegué. This is a very short sentence, but it is also commonly said in Spanish. Ya llegué, ya llegué, ya llegué. The Y sound in Spanish, some people, some Spanish speakers say ya, like saying like a J, A, ja. Some people say ya, okay, like a Y sound in English. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes the Y sound in Spanish is a bit different. It could be ya or ja. Just like you would say jam, for example. Jam or yellow. So the Y sound in Spanish is quite interesting. Both sounds are correct. They're understood and you can use either one, of course. Ya llegué, ya llegué. What does this mean? We have ya and we have llegué. Llegué is past tense and obviously that's the verb llegar. Llegué, ya llegué. This means I'm here or I have arrived, okay? It's very, if you want to be literal about it, ya llegué is like saying I have arrived already, okay? Ya means already, okay? So, ya llegué, I'm here, okay? And we're using past tense because if you say ya llego, that's present tense, llegar in present tense, ya llego, that means something else. That means that you're almost there. You're getting there. You're almost there, but you're not there yet. When you say ya llegué, it's like saying I have arrived. I have arrived already. Or, in English, it's commonly said, I'm here. ya llegué. So just remember that that's a very interesting and helpful phrase to use when you want to say I'm here. You know, I was coming from some other place and now I'm here. Just remember to use llegué, past tense. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so if you're talking about something else like you're expecting, I don't know, something to arrive, like, I don't know, food, takeout or something like that, you can say something like ya llegó. And it sounds a bit incomplete, but you can say la comida. Ya llegó la comida. And that means the food has arrived. That's the literal translation. But in English, it's similar to saying the food is here. Okay? Just like you say, I'm here. When talking about food, well, you say the food is here, right? So, ya llegó la comida. Again, past tense. It's not, it's here, but we're talking about arriving. It's llegar and to arrive both are quite similar. Okay. Hello, KS. Welcome. Muy temprano. Muy temprano. Yeah. Hola, esta clase en vivo es muy temprano. Yeah. Hello, Chris. Hello, KS. Welcome. I know it's a bit earlier, a lot earlier than usual, but that's because I stream later on Twitch, so I had to do this a bit earlier than usual. But anyways, thanks for being here. So remember, llegar means to arrive. This is a very important verb to learn in Spanish because it's very, very common. Very common. It's a common verb. Okay. Now let's look at verb number 2. Let's go with this one here. Okay. Let's see. Pedir prestado. Pedir prestado. Pedir prestado. Pedir. Do you know? Well, this is like a phrasal verb. The first one, pedir. Pedir. That's the verb. Okay. Pedir. Okay. Prestado. Prestado is just, like a phrasal verb. You have to have that word, extra word, to use this verb in certain situations. Of course, pedir means to ask, okay? But when you say prestado, that means, that means, not that, to borrow. Pedir prestado. Pedir prestado. To borrow, okay? It could be money. It could be things, okay? Money or things. And prestado is an adjective and it means borrowed, okay? So essentially you're saying to ask borrowed, but that doesn't make that much sense in English, but you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about here. We're talking about borrowing something. Could be money or things. Let's look at some examples. Pedí prestado este libro. Pedí prestado este libro. Libro. Do you know what libro means? Libro means book. So you kind of know what you're borrowing. What are you borrowing? A book. Okay? So the meaning of this sentence is, I borrowed this book. Okay? Very simple. It's a very simple sentence. Pedí that's past tense. When you say pedi prestado, that means I borrowed. Okay? Pedi prestado. I borrowed. Este means this. So you have it probably, you're holding the book and you need to say this book that I'm holding. So este means this. Libro means book. El libro. Okay, remember, libro is a masculine noun. Pedí prestado este libro. I borrowed this book. Excellent. Let's look at the next example. Miguel pidió dinero prestado. Miguel pidió dinero prestado. Okay, so dinero, el dinero. So we're talking about money. So Miguel borrowed money. Very simple. It's a very simple sentence. And when you say pedir dinero prestado, this is something important to notice, to point out that dinero is in the middle of pedir and prestado. Okay? So if you say Miguel pidió prestado dinero, it makes sense, but it's better if you put like dinero in the middle of the two words. Miguel pidió dinero prestado. Miguel borrowed money. Okay, so very simple. You have the subject, the person, Miguel, pidió prestado, borrowed, dinero, money. Okay, very easy, nothing too complicated. If you want to say that you or I, borrowed some money, I can say yo. You don't have to add yo, but if you want to, you can. Yo pedí dinero prestado. Okay? I borrowed money. Okay? So that's easy. As I said, you don't have to put yo, you don't have to add to have yo there. So you can just say pedí dinero prestado. Okay? And that's great. It sounds more natural. But of course, you can have yo. Yo pedí dinero prestado. I borrowed money. Okay? Or pedí dinero prestado. I borrowed money. Okay, so this is a great phrasal verb, Spanish phrasal verb. Remember, you need to have prestado. Okay? Because if you don't have prestado, it sounds incomplete. If you say pedí dinero, if you have it just like this, this means I asked for money. Okay, so I asked for money, that's something different. But if you have pedí dinero prestado, now you're saying that you borrowed some money. Okay, or in this situation, I borrowed money. Excellent. Now, the next one, guys, verb number 3 is reducir. This is a more advanced verb, but it's also very commonly used. Chris Knows asks, what is the opposite of pedir prestado? Dar prestado. Dar. That's a great question. Really quickly. Okay. To loan. Okay. If you want to say that. Dar prestado means to loan. Okay. So that's the opposite. You're giving money to someone. Okay. So you can say di prestado este libro. Okay. Di prestado este libro. That means I gave or I loaned this book. Okay. So that's quite interesting how like the opposite of, pedir prestado is dar prestado. That's a great question. That's a great question. So, di prestado este libro, I loaned this book. Okay? And then here, it will be the, again, the dinero prestado. Di dinero prestado. Just double checking something, guys, really quickly. Okay, di doesn't need the accent mark. I had to double check that because usually when you have past tense, usually you add accent marks, but in this situation you don't need it. Sorry about that. Di dinero prestado, that means I loaned money. Okay, so the opposite of giving money. No, sorry. The opposite of borrowing money. Di dinero prestado. Di prestado este libro. By the way, guys, when talking about any other noun, in this case, libro, right? I told you that when talking about money, you usually place it in the middle of the two words. It's the same for this. If you want, this is more optional. You can say di prestado este libro, or you can have este libro in the middle as well. Di este libro prestado. Okay, so very flexible when using this verb. You can have the noun in between the two words, or you can have it after the two words. When talking about dinero, usually is in the middle of the two words. Okay? Excellent. Great question, Chris. That's awesome. Okay, let's continue. Reducir. What does this mean? Reducir. Reducir means to reduce, to decrease something, to reduce, to just, take it down a little bit or a lot. It depends, of course, on the situation. But reducir, to reduce. For example, I can say, ¿cómo reducir el desempleo? My bad. ¿Cómo reducir el desempleo? ¿Cómo reducir el desempleo? That's a question that means, how do we reduce unemployment? Desempleo means unemployment. Reducir, reduce. Okay? ¿Cómo? You know what como means. ¿Cómo means how. Okay? In Spanish, we don't have the do and then the verb we just have the verb, reducir. That's it. There is no do we reduce. We don't need that. ¿Cómo reducir el desempleo? El desempleo, unemployment. Okay? ¿Cómo reducir el desempleo? It's more like saying, how can we, well, in this case, we have we, right? Because it's, we're talking about what can we do to do something, specifically. But in this situation in Spanish, we're just saying about the action to reduce unemployment. So literally we're saying how to reduce unemployment. That's the literal translation, okay? How to reduce unemployment. But it's similar to saying how do we reduce unemployment, okay? So either way works fine. But reducir, ¿cómo reducir? How to reduce el desempleo, unemployment. That's the meaning of this question. We're talking about reducing unemployment. We want to, make it less, just reduce unemployment. Okay, the next example, guys. La tienda redujo los precios. La tienda redujo los precios. What are we talking about here? Tienda. Tienda means store, of course. La tienda, the store, right? Redujo los precios. So tienda means store. Precios means prices, the whatever you pay for things. So when we're talking about redujo, redujo, past tense, that means prices went down. They got reduced, or they, in English, usually people say something like the store cut prices. Okay, so maybe there's a sale, and when you can use reducir for that. Okay, so it just means something is there or up here and went down here. Okay, so that's what reducir is about. To reduce, to cut prices, to have a sale in the situation there. Maybe it's 50% off. We don't know, but we know that the prices are down. So you can pay less. Remember, la tienda means store or the store. Redujo, reduced or cut in the situation. Los precios, prices, plural. Los precios. El precio, singular. Los precios, plural. Okay? Excellent. So that is reducir. Reducir. Remember the R sound. Reducir. Okay, the next verb, guys, is irritar. Irritar. A lot of R sounds. Irritar. Irritar. Irritar sounds similar to something in English. It means to irritate or to get annoyed. Okay, to get annoyed. This is a very good verb that you can use to say to irritate or to get annoyed. Literally, if you have some irritation, you can use that verb for that, irritar, just to talk about it. Or when you get annoyed by people or things, okay? You can also use this verb for that. So let's look at some examples. Miguel me irrita. Miguel me irrita. What does this mean? Miguel me irrita. This means Miguel annoys me. Miguel annoys me. Okay, maybe Miguel is talking too much or saying things that you don't like, so you can use irritar for that. Miguel annoys me. Miguel me irrita. Okay, remember, you can use the noun me. Okay, the noun me, and that means me. Okay, so Miguel means Miguel, right? We're talking about a person. Me irrita, annoys. So that's what this means. Miguel me irrita. Miguel annoys me. Okay, so that's how this verb works. You can also say yo te irrito. Yo te irrito. Even you can make it a question. Yo te irrito. It sounds quite cute, the whole sentence. Yo te irrito. Yo te irrito. What does this mean? Do I know you? Do I know you? This is a very good verb that means just to get annoyed, or in this case you're annoying someone. So yo te irrito. Do I know you? So that it's a very good verb. Okay, the next example, guys. The next example is tengo la piel irritada. Tengo la piel irritada. What does this mean? Piel, la piel. This means my skin is irritated. Okay? Tengo la piel irritada. Of course, we're using irritada. That's an adjective. It's not really a verb in this situation. Irritado, irritada means irritated, okay, or annoyed. But in this situation, I just wanted to show you that usually, just as in English, you have, the verb, and you can also have an adjective that means or is very similar, the verb and the adjective. It's obviously a different structure, but here it's a verb, right? And here is an adjective. Irritada, irritada. In this situation, we're talking about skin. La piel, la piel. Okay, la piel means skin. And usually in Spanish, you use a lot tener when talking about, in this situation, skin. So it's the same as saying tengo frío. Tengo frío, I'm cold. You're not saying yo soy frío. You're saying tengo frío, okay? So that's something very different. English has a different way to say something like that. Tengo frío, I'm cold. And in Spanish, you need to have a different structure. You need to use the verb tener for that. Tener means to have, okay? So essentially, when you say tengo frío, that means I have cold. But in English, it doesn't make sense. So tengo frío is similar to saying I am cold. Also, when talking about, in this case, your skin, something's wrong with your skin, you can say tengo la piel irritada, okay? Tengo la piel irritada, okay? So in this situation, my skin, obviously we don't have tengo mi piel. You can have it. It's optional. Tengo mi piel irritada. So that's saying my skin is irritated. But also it's very commonly said, tengo la piel. Tengo la piel. Why? Because, I mean, you're just talking about skin, and obviously it's kind of a given that it's your skin, not someone's skin, you know. But if you want to say someone's skin is irritated, you only have to say the name, obviously. Miguel. Just one sec. It's very interesting how it works in English and in Spanish. The whole, you know, sentence structure and words and all of that. So if someone else has irritated skin, so you can say Miguel tiene la piel irritada, okay? Miguel tiene la piel irritada, and this means Miguel's skin is irritated, okay? So just keep that in mind. If you change this to tengo la piel irritada, that means my skin is irritated, okay? Irritada, irritated. So this is an adjective. This is not the verb or a verb, but it comes from the verb irritar, okay? So if you want to say tengo you can say la piel. If we want to use irritar, just the verb, la piel se irrita con, I don't know, el sol. Okay, let's have it like that. La piel se irrita con el sol. And this means skin, not skin, skin gets irritated. Well, in this situation, irritated or irritates. Irritates with, hang on. Skin irritates by the sun, right? So it's similar to saying what's going on, like the sun is irritating the skin in this situation. So this is a verb. We're using a verb here. Irritar, irrita, se irrita. La piel se irrita. It's also necessary in this situation to have the noun se. La piel se irrita. Okay? Same here, right? Yo te irrito. If you say yo irrito, that means, well, if you don't have a question, yo irrito mucho, that will be that means I annoy a lot. Who? We don't know, right? But I mean, to whom? We don't know. But you're just saying that you annoy. I annoy a lot. It's very interesting how this works. La piel se irrita con el sol. Skin gets irritated or irritates by the sun. Or yo irrito mucho. I annoy a lot. That's a way to use this verb. Yo te irrito. Do I annoy you? Okay, so that's how to use irritar. Do you guys have any questions? Chris No says, es como molestar. Irritar en molestar. I'm not sure about, it could be similar, but molestar it's a stronger word, Irritar is just annoying, it's just annoying. It's not bothering you, because molestar means to bother. So there's some difference when you say that someone annoys you or someone is bothering you. Okay, so there is a difference there. Irritar, to get annoyed, to annoy. Okay, molestar, to bother. So there's some difference there. Ralph Marquez, ¿eres músico también? If I'm a musician too? Oh, because of the guitars? I just play guitars. I'm not a musician. I just play guitars for fun. Nothing serious. Welcome, Ralph. Californiano, no me irrites. Great example. Don't annoy me. No me irrites. Perfect example. Welcome, Californiano. Que yes, a veces la vida puede ser irritante. Or puede irritarte. You're correct as well. A veces la vida puede irritarte. Great example. Yeah, and it's true. It's true as well. Thanks for sharing, guys. Okay, irritar. Remember, irritar means to irritate or to get annoyed. Now, let's see. We have 3, 4, 5, 6 verbs left. So let's look at the next one. Roncar. Roncar. This is a good one. This is a good one. Roncar means to snore. Okay? To snore. Roncar. Roncar. It's a simple verb, really. Let's see some examples. Ronco cuando duermo. This is a question. Ronco cuando duermo. What does this mean? Ronco cuando duermo. This means, do I snore when I sleep? This is yeah, people ask this, right? You can't hear yourself snoring at night, so sometimes you have to ask, ronco cuando duermo. Do I snore when I sleep? Ronco, we have it here. Ronco, in this situation, it means do I snore, but ronco means I snore. But when you're asking, you're saying, do I snore? Cuando, when. Yo duermo. We don't need yo. Okay, we don't need yo there. But essentially, you're saying I sleep. Yo duermo. Dormir means to sleep. Yo duermo means I sleep. So that's why we have duermo. And it's very, very crazy because essentially you're saying you're having a yo right here, an imaginary yo, but it's like saying yo ronco cuando yo duermo. Okay, that's why we don't use personal pronouns all the time, because it can get too repetitive. in Spanish. Yo ronco cuando yo duermo, and that means do I snore when I sleep. I know in English, well, you have to, right? Because how verbs are conjugated. But in Spanish, the conjugation of verbs is very specific for personal pronouns. So you don't need the personal pronoun. And that's why you don't need the personal pronoun. Ronco cuando duermo. Do I snore when I sleep? Interesting question. Okay, the next example. Oh boy, what happened? What did I do? Oh, there you go. I'm pressing buttons and activating things. Okay. Miguel ronca cuando duerme. Miguel ronca cuando duerme. This is a statement. You're saying that Miguel ronca. Miguel snores. Okay? When duerme. He sleeps. Miguel ronca cuando duerme. Once again, we have here, we don't have the personal pronoun él. Él duerme, he sleeps. So essentially you're saying Miguel ronca cuando él duerme. But we don't need the personal pronoun. Miguel ronca cuando duerme. Okay? Miguel ronca, Miguel snores, right? Ronca. When duerme. He sleeps. Okay? So interesting, very interesting how roncar works. Chris knows. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Ralph Marquez. How do you say sunburn? Sunburn, quemadura. It's like saying burn. Quemadura de sol. Okay, quemadura de sol. So very quickly, I'll just show you here. Quemadura de sol. I mean, it's a long word. It's not a word. It's like more like a phrase. But you are saying quemadura de sol. Hang on. Sorry about that. This is a K. No, K. Q. Quemadura de sol. Okay, so that's sunburn. Okay, anyways, roncar, to snore. Just remember that. Roncar means to snore. Excellent. Now, let's see the next. Let's look at the next verb. We're almost done. Yeah, we have just a few more verbs. Okay. The next verb is, this one is good. Tener exito. Exito. Remember the accent mark on top of the letter E? It's very important. Otherwise, it says exito. Exito means something else. Exito means I turn. We're talking about getting excited, but in a sexual way, to turn on someone. So remember the accent mark. It's important because otherwise it means something else. Accent marks can change the meaning of words, so we gotta pay attention to that. Okay. Tener éxito. Éxito. Okay? That means to be successful or to succeed. When you're succeeding at, doing something, whatever you're doing, right? To be successful. Tener éxito. That's what this phrasal verb means. Tener means to have. Éxito means success. Exito means success. Remember that. Okay. Example number 1. Oops. Para tener éxito hay que trabajar duro. Para tener éxito hay que trabajar duro. What does this mean? It's a long phrase. It's a long sentence. It's quite long. This means you have to work hard to be successful or to succeed. Either one, okay? To be successful, to succeed, same thing in Spanish. Tener éxito. Para tener éxito, this is an interesting, a really interesting structure right here, because we're saying para tener éxito. We're saying to be successful. So we can place para tener éxito at the beginning, or you can have it at the end of the phrase. So you can say para tener éxito hay que trabajar duro, or hay que trabajar duro para tener éxito. So very flexible. The sentence can be very flexible. Hay que, I is a very peculiar word that means there is, there are, but in this situation, it's similar to saying you have to, okay? I know it doesn't make much sense, but hay que is like saying you have to do something. In this case, trabajar, okay? Work. And then duro. Duro means hard, okay? Duro. And we're talking, it can be literally hard, something hard like bread. For example, el pan está duro. The bread is hard because it's old bread. Or when you need to do something hard, you need to work hard. Trabajar duro, okay? This is quite interesting. Hay que, just remember these two words, hay que, very similar. That's very similar to saying you have to or we have to, okay? For example, I can say, hay que comer rápido. We have to eat fast, okay? Hay que comer rápido. We have to eat fast for whatever reason. In this situation, we're talking about working. You have to work. Hay que trabajar duro, hard, okay? Hay que can refer to you have or we have, okay? So hay que. So it's just an action. You're asking for an action. Okay, excellent. This is very good. Obviously, the verb is here. Tener éxito, para tener éxito. To be successful, to succeed. And it's right here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right here. Yeah. Very interesting. Let's look at the next example. Oops. Always. I just have to do some shortcuts here to get things going, to make things happen. Hagas lo que hagas, sé que vas a tener éxito. So this is another complex phrase or sentence. Hagas lo que hagas. Hagas lo que hagas. This is a very good phrase too. Hagas lo que hagas. Sé que vas a tener éxito. Éxito. This means no matter what you do, I know you're going to be successful or to succeed. I know you're going to succeed. Okay? So either one. Hagas lo que hagas. Hagas lo que hagas is a very common phrase that people say. Hagas lo que hagas. Okay. This is a very good phrase to remember. This means no matter what you do. Okay. Hagas lo que hagas. Hagas lo que hagas. No matter what you do. Sé. Sé. Yo sé is like saying yo sé. Once again, we don't need the pronoun here. Yo sé. I know. Or sé. Que. In this situation, it's like saying I know that. Sé que. Yo sé que. Very commonly said in Spanish. It's like saying I know that. Vas a. You are going to tener éxito. Be successful. To be successful. Okay? So very, very important to know how this sentence works so you understand Spanish. Okay? Hagas lo que hagas. Sorry, I was going to cough. Hagas lo que hagas, no matter what you do. Hagas lo que hagas is like saying no matter what you do, do anything that you do. It does, like in this situation, it's like saying no matter what you do. But hagas lo que hagas, it's like saying tú hagas lo que tú hagas. Doing what you're doing. It's similar to saying that. It doesn't make it doesn't make much sense, but it's very similar to saying no matter what you do. Okay? Excellent. Oh man, we're almost done. Okay, the next example, guys. The next verb is recordar. Recordar. Do you know what this means? Recordar. Recordar. This means to remember. Another common, very common verb. Very simple also. This is just when talking about remembering things or not remembering things. So recordar, it's very similar to remember. For example, I can say, no recuerdo lo que dijiste. No recuerdo lo que dijiste. This means I don't remember what you said. I don't remember what you said. What did you say? Can you repeat what you said? Well, this is like something else, but this phrase means I don't remember what you said. No recuerdo. No recuerdo means I don't remember. You can also say yo no recuerdo. But no recuerdo means I don't remember. No recuerdo. Lo que, we're using lo because we're talking about something vague. We don't know what it is. Lo is it's like saying in this situation it, but in English people say what. In this situation, it will be similar to what. Dijiste, you said. So again, no pronoun here. Tú dijiste, okay? Tú dijiste. You just need dijiste. No recuerdo lo que dijiste. I don't remember what you said. Very interesting. Yeah, you need lo right here because we are referring to something. You know, it's like saying it. I know you don't need it in English, but in Spanish, you need to include that. Lo que dijiste, what you said. Okay? Similar to what you said. Okay, the next example, guys. Recuerda comprar pan. Recuerda comprar pan. This is a command. Recuerda. 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 This means remember. Comprar. To buy. Comprar. Pan. Pan, bread. Okay. Recuerda comprar pan. Remember to buy bread or to pick up bread. You know, you need to go to the store, or the person that you're saying this to needs to buy bread. Okay, go to the store and buy bread. Excellent. Recuerda. Remember. Recuerda. Comprar means to buy, and pan. Pan means bread. Very, very, very simple. Okay, the next one. Next verb. We have only 3 left. Just need a little water. Kaya says, how to think in Spanish. Hay una canción llamada Duro. Interesting. How to think in Spanish. It's something you gotta do. It's like you need to forget about English, and just like you're trying to speak Spanish, just do it in your brain. You know, do it in your brain. You can start talking about anything, right? What you see around you. La computadora está funcionando. The computer is working. Something simple. You don't have to, make it complicated. You just have to say or think what you're seeing, what you're feeling. I'm hungry. Tengo hambre. And then when you try to speak the language, Spanish, so you have already the thinking part, and now you just have to say it out loud. It's very simple. You just have to forget about English for a bit while you do that. Okay. Great question, KS. The next verb is decidir. 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 Decidir means to decide. We talked about this verb yesterday when I was trying to stream, but let's talk about it again. Decidir means to decide. To decide. For example, I can say, no sé qué decidir. No sé qué decidir. No sé qué decidir. This means I don't know what to decide. I don't know what to decide. I don't know what to do. Okay, so that's similar to saying that. No sé, guys, no sé. No sé means I don't know. You can also say yo no sé. I don't know. No sé qué. You know what qué means? What? Decidir, to decide. I don't know what to decide. No sé qué decidir. It's a very common phrase to say in Spanish. No sé qué decidir. When you are indecisive, when you don't know what to do, when you need time to think about something, you can use this phrase. So I recommend you learn this. Just learn it. You can even memorize the phrase if you can or if you want. But it's also good to know how it works, how the sentence works. Okay. The next example, guys, is tienes que decidir. Sorry. Tienes que decidir hoy. Tienes que decidir hoy. Okay? This means you have to decide today. You can also say tú tienes que decidir hoy. You have to decide today. Okay? Once again, we don't need the pronoun. Tienes means you have to. tienes que. Oh, by the way, when saying tienes que, that means you have to, okay? So you can also say tengo que, yo tengo que, I have to, and then you add the rest. In this situation, we need, or we're talking about deciding, so you need decidir. Tienes que decidir. You have to decide. Hoy means today. Hoy. So this is a great sentence as well. Remember, when talking about, you have to, these two words are very essential, very important. Tienes que, you have to. And of course, you can change it up. You can say tengo que. If you say tengo que decidir hoy, that means I have to decide today. Okay? You need que. Tengo que. If you say tienen que decidir hoy, that means you, but plural you. You're talking to a group of people. You have to decide today. Okay, you people need, or you have to decide today. Okay? So that is very interesting how Spanish works. But yeah, remember this tener que. It's like saying to have to do something. In this case, decidir. Decidir means to decide. Remember this important verb. Very helpful. It's very helpful. Okay. Californiano says, isn't no sé qué decidir? No sé qué decidir. That's an interesting thing. Que usually when the accent mark, that's used in questions mainly, or in like when you are using exclamation marks. Okay, for example, if I say qué bonito, how beautiful, okay? Or qué feo, how ugly. And you need the accent mark. When you're asking questions, for example, qué hora es, well, that's not exclamation sentence, is a question. Qué hora es, you need the accent mark when asking questions. But when you're saying no sé qué decidir, you don't really need the accent mark because it's not a question, it's not an exclamation. It's not an exclamation either. So I follow that rule, that grammatical rule, because it's a statement. Okay. But yeah, that's what I can tell you. It doesn't need the accent mark because it's not a question, it's not an exclamation phrase. No sé qué, it doesn't need the accent mark. This because Californiano is saying that it needs the accent mark. It doesn't need it because it's not a question, or you're not using question marks or exclamation marks. Great question, Californiano. Great question. Thank you. Okay, the next one, guys. We only have 2 verbs left. The next verb is fluir. Fluir means to flow. Fluir and to flow are quite similar. They look a bit similar. Obviously, different words, but quite similar. I don't know. I think it is quite similar. Fluir means to flow. We can be talking literally about some flow, some flowing, something flowing, or it can be also something not tangible, like ideas, like love, like, feelings and whatnot. So fluir, you can use that verb for that. Let's look at some examples. El agua fluye por el río. El agua fluye por el río. Okay, so this means water flows down the river. The water flows down the river. So agua, el agua, this is quite good. I mean, quite confusing too. El agua looks like it's feminine because we have so many A letters there. Well, just two. But it's actually masculine. It's a masculine noun. So you gotta say el agua, not la agua. Okay? That's incorrect. Just remember that. El agua means water. Okay? Water, el agua. El agua. Fluye. We have the verb fluir here. Fluye means flows. Por el río. In English, you would say down the river. In Spanish, it's like saying, in the river, or the water is contained in the river, right? I know that en means in Spanish, but when you say por el río, you're just talking about the whole river, okay? It's a common thing to say por el río, por el camino, por la avenida. So you're just referring to the long path, okay? Interesting. It's very interesting how it works. I'm saying interesting so many times. Muy interesante. The next example is, ¿por qué no fluirá el tráfico? ¿Por qué no fluirá el tráfico? Tráfico, remember, you need the accent mark here on the letter A. Tráfico, and that means traffic. If you say tráfico, you're saying traffic. And I don't know what you're talking about if you say that. I don't know what you are talking about when you say that. Because it's like saying you're trading or something like that. So it can be a quite interesting thing to say. But tráfico means traffic. We're talking about some traffic somewhere. The whole sentence means, why isn't a traffic flowing? There's some traffic jam? I don't know. So you're wondering, why isn't it traffic flowing? Why are we stuck here? You're not liking the situation, right? You just want to know why. Maybe there was some car accident somewhere, somewhere ahead of you. You don't know. Maybe bad weather. Who knows? ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no means why not? Usually, if you say why, ¿por qué no? ¿Por qué no? If someone says, vamos a la fiesta, let's go to the party, you can say, ¿por qué no? Why not? Right? But ¿por qué no also can mean why isn't, and then ... Fluirá in this situation means flowing. I know that this is in future tense, but this is something common in Spanish. ¿Por qué no fluirá? ¿Por qué no correrá? ¿Por qué no trabajará? Okay, funcionará. So it's a very common thing to have por qué no and then a verb in future tense. Okay. And it's like saying, why isn't something happening? But I know it makes not much sense because we're talking about future tense, but that's how it works in Spanish. That's how it works. That's the structure we need when using por qué no. Por qué no and then future tense verb. A verb conjugated in future tense. El tráfico. Traffic. Okay? ¿Por qué no fluirá el tráfico? Okay? So that's quite complex, but it's not that difficult to understand. Let's have another example here. I know we're talking about fluir, but I want you to understand the structure, the sentence structure. ¿Por qué no comerá mi perro? Okay? This means, why isn't my dog eating? In English, you need eating, right? In Spanish, we need comerá, future tense, comerá, right here. Comerá, similar to eating in this specific situation, because if I say, ¿por qué no comiendo? That's the literal translation of eating. ¿Por qué no comiendo mi perro? That makes zero sense in Spanish, because the gerund, like this part, comiendo, bebiendo, trabajando, that is, we're talking about something that is happening right now. And I know that it sounds like the dog is not eating, so it makes sense. But in this structure, in this question, you need comerá. So it's an exception, you know. So it's a very important thing to understand and to learn how to use por qué no, and then, you know, the whole structure. Comerá mi perro. Why isn't my dog eating? So just remember that. That's a good tip to know when speaking Spanish. Okay, so in this case, we're talking about fluir, right? Let me just... Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. ¿Por qué no fluirá el tráfico? Why isn't traffic flowing? And that's an interesting thing to know. Fluirá, fluye, and we're talking about flow, okay? Fluir means to flow. Remember that. The last verb, guys. Let's see. You have some questions? Okay, Californiano says, ¿qué decidiste? What if it's ¿qué decidiste? As accent mark needed. I assume you're talking about ¿qué? ¿Qué decidiste? You need the accent mark on top of the letter E when talking about ¿qué? ¿Qué decidiste? Because it's a question. That's a question. And you need the accent mark there. You need the accent mark. You need the accent mark. So yeah, that's correct. You only need to add the upside down question mark at the beginning of the question, if you can, to make it grammatically correct. But if you can't, it doesn't matter really, because there's a lot of Spanish speakers that do not use the upside down question mark when typing. because, I don't know, laziness, or they feel that it's unnecessary. I don't know. But yeah, that question is correct. It's just like in English. The engine won't start. He won't tell me. But in Spanish, that will be el motor no. If you say won't start in Spanish, it will be different. It would not be, we won't use won't. We will use el motor no enciende. No enciende, and that's present tense. We're not using will not. We don't use will not in those in those situations. He won't tell me. Él no me dice. So that's also present. You know what I'm saying? In English, you have won't start. That's, you're using will not. In Spanish, we don't need future. It's present. But when you say, ¿por qué no? Why not? Saying why not, but why isn't? And then you need future tense in Spanish. And and you use gerund in English. It's it's very crazy. Every language has its things, you know, like they work in a very peculiar way. Okay. Now, the last verb, guys, is enojarse. 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 That means to get angry. Okay? When you get angry, you can use this verb. To get angry, to get mad, you know, you're just not happy. It's the opposite of being happy. Let's look at some examples. Mi papá nunca se enoja. Mi papá nunca se enoja. Mi papá nunca se enoja. Okay? I know it sounds like I'm saying se enoja. Se enoja, it's just like one word. But sometimes, I mean, Spanish speakers speak really fast. So sometimes it sounds like they're saying one word, but it's actually two or three, right? So keep that in mind. It's good to see as well the words when you're learning, obviously, Spanish. It's good to listen as well. And obviously, you need to pronounce and you need to talk the language, speak the language rather. Mi papá nunca se enoja. So I usually, when I pronounce the words, the Spanish words, I slow down. You know, I don't say it too fast. I say it slower. But usually the normal speed will be mi papá nunca se enoja. Okay? Mi papá nunca se enoja. So it sounds like one word. Mi papá nunca se enoja. Right? But just little by little, you're gonna be able to understand Spanish when someone speaks it fast. But it's just as in English. There's people who speak really fast. But it's not difficult to understand. You just have to train your ears, you know, to understand the language in different, you know, speeds or different speed. So anyway, it's good to make mistakes. You know, I make a lot of mistakes in English. I'm still learning English, and that's fine. That's fine. It's hard to know a language 100%. Even native speakers don't know their language 100% because it's always changing, right? So anyways, mi papá means my dad. Remember to use the accent mark when saying dad in Spanish. This accent mark, papá, because if you don't have the accent mark, if you say papa, that's a different intonation. Papa. Two different words. Accent marks can change the meaning of words. Papa means dad. papa without the accent mark means potato, okay? You're not talking about a potato. You're talking about your dad. Mi papá, my dad. We don't need the red color. Never, nunca, nunca se gets angry. Se enoja. Mi papá nunca se enoja. Mi papá nunca se enoja. If you want to say it fast or normal speed. Normal speed, I would say. Enoja, se enoja. By the way, when I have se here, that means that you can add pronouns to the verb. So you can use it in a reflexive way, or you can add the pronouns, se, te, me, le. Yeah, le as well. So we have the pronoun here. Se enoja. Me enojo. Te enojas. Okay? So it's similar to saying, for example, if you say, it's like saying you're just referring to your dad, right? So it's like saying my dad never gets angry. Him. But in Spanish, we have a different sentence structure. So you need se right here. Mi papá nunca se enoja. My dad never gets angry. Because if you don't have se, if you say mi papá nunca enoja, it sounds incomplete. You need se. Okay? You need se. Another example. You can say me enoja mi papá. Okay? Or let's skip it. Well, you can say that. And it's like saying my dad makes me angry. Okay? Or he is the cause why I'm angry. So, me enoja mi papá. My dad makes me angry. And in this situation, well, you know the concept, right? Make someone angry, to get mad. So you can use enojarse in those situations when you want to refer to that specifically. You can also say te enojas mucho. And this is like saying it's like literally saying you get angry a lot, or like saying you're always angry. But let's keep it literal because it makes sense. You get angry a lot. Okay? You get angry a lot. So this is an interesting, very interesting. I keep saying interesting, sorry guys. But it's just, I find it fascinating how, Spanish and English work. They're different. They're totally different languages. Okay, the next example, guys. And you see, I had to use te, the pronoun. Enojas mucho. And you need it. That's why when you see verbs that have enojarse, se, the ending se, that means that you will likely use these kinds of pronouns, like te, me, le. Okay. I have a lesson about those pronouns, so feel free to browse my channel. Ya te enojaste. Ya te enojaste. This is a good question. This means, are you angry? Are you angry? You can also say estás enojado. That's a more literal translation. ¿Estás enojado? Are you angry? But I wanted to use enojarse as a verb. That's why I have enojaste. ¿Ya te enojaste? Are you angry? Okay, are you angry? It's a good question to learn for sure. If you see someone angry and you want to ask them, why are you angry? Or are you angry? Rather, are you angry? ¿Ya te enojaste? Okay, so enojarse means to get angry, to get mad, to, if you're talking about, making someone angry, you can also use this verb for those situations or for that situation specifically. But this is a very good verb to learn because it's common. People get angry. I hope you don't get angry too often. I hope you never get angry, because getting angry is not good. It's not good for you or anyone, nor anyone around you. So let's be happy. Seamos felices. Okay, so guys, do you have any questions? Let me know. Let me know. Right. Me enoja mi papá. Me enoja mi papá que nunca se enoja. Me enoja que mi papá nunca se enoja. So que, I would move it to after enoja. Me enoja que. Okay. Me enoja que. That's another interesting structure. Really good structure if you want. Because I had before me enoja mi papá. Right? So this means my dad makes me angry. Okay? But if you want to add more, specifically what is your dad doing that makes you angry, then you need me enoja que mi papá, I don't know, enoja que mi papá es gritón. Gritón is a very good word. Gritón. Gritón means someone who yells a lot. Okay? Someone who's constantly screaming. It comes from the verb gritar. Okay? But gritón means, or gritona, this is masculine. Gritón, gritona is feminine, but in this situation, we can say gritón because we're talking about papa. You can change this to mama. Mama. Oops. Mama is gritona. Okay. Oops. So that means that your mom yells a lot. Your mom is constantly yelling. But yeah, let's do it like that. This means me enoja que mi mamá sorry. Me enoja que mi mamá es gritona. Okay, this means it makes me angry that my mom yells a lot. I will uncover that. Okay. Me enoja que, this is very similar to saying it makes me angry that ... Okay. When you want to add more to the sentence, the reason why you're getting angry. Me enoja que is a very common phrase to start saying that something makes you angry. It makes me angry that. That's what this means. Mi mamá, my mom, es gritona. Gritona is an adjective. So that's why we have es. It's like saying es bonito, it's beautiful. Es feo, it's ugly. Es gritona, yells a lot. In this situation, she yells a lot. But gritona is an adjective, okay? So do you have a word in English that is similar to gritona, like an adjective? Because I'm saying here yells a lot, right? Which is not an adjective, it's just, a phrase. You have a verb and then a lot, the word a lot. It's also a lot. Yeah, a lot is an adjective. But I'm saying a peculiar word for someone who yells a lot. But in this situation, yeah, me enoja que is a perfect phrase to say it makes me angry that ... Okay. I meant to say my dad who never gets angry makes me angry. Okay, your dad. Mi papá que nunca se enoja me enoja. Me enoja que mi papá nunca se enoja. Me enoja que mi papá nunca se enoja. I think that will be the same idea. My dad who never gets angry makes me angry. Me enoja que mi papá que nunca se enoja. No, me enoja que mi papá nunca se enoja. That will be the translation. A very confusing sentence, Californiano. But it's good if that's true. I mean, it's not good that it makes you angry that your dad never gets angry. But I don't know. I think parents who never get angry are very patient parents. And that's something good. That's something good, definitely. But interesting example. Thanks for sharing, Californiano. Okay. Que yes, a veces la vida nos hace enojar. Yeah, I agree. But we should not get angry. I think it's not necessary because it doesn't fix anything. And it's just bad for you, to get angry. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. It's better to take a deep breath and carry on. That's, I think, a better thing to do. Okay, any other question? Anything else that you would like to share? More examples, maybe. In the meantime, I'm going to say that I have a Spanish community on Discord, so that you can join for free. You only need to find the link in the video description down below. Please read the rules before joining that server. That Discord server that's very important. Also, remember that I usually stream every Tuesday around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. But if you don't want to miss out my streams, you can click on the bell icon, the bell notification icon, and YouTube you need to click on it, and then you need to select get all the notifications. So that way YouTube notifies you every time I live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. By the way, I know it's an odd time right now. It's kind of early, but thank you. I appreciate you being here. I hope you learned a lot, today about Spanish and how it works, and obviously the verbs that we talked about. Practice, because that's the only way to master any language. And obviously you need to learn the language, but practicing is an important part of the whole experience, and also making mistakes. It's good to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Okay. Thanks for the class. You are one of a kind. Thank you, Californiano. Thanks for the kind comment. I'm glad that you liked the lesson. Thank you so much. Okay. ¿Qué es? Cuando los niños hacen algo malo, los padres se enojan mucho. Perfect example. And yeah, sometimes that happens. Yeah, but yeah. Thanks for sharing, KS. Chris knows, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. You're the best. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's it. Also, if you like this lesson, please give it a like. That helps me a lot. And well, I'll see you next week, next Tuesday. And have a beautiful afternoon or morning or night, wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Oh, also subscribe. That's something good too. It's free. Okay, bye. Take care. Adiós. Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye.